Дорогие дамы и господа, dear ladies and gentlemen, it's a great honor for me to speak today to you. We are remembering 25 years of NATO war against Yugoslavia, the Kosovo War. The war was a clear violation of international law, and it was a turning point in the modern history. At that point, the 25 years long period of monopolar world with the US as the sole hegemon began. And my dear colleague Sergei Baburin already said, this period is over, it's ended. It's ended with the Ukrainian war, and especially, in my opinion, with the signing of the treaty between Russia and China. But let's face back to the Kosovo War, because it sent a very fatal signal for the future for several reasons. Firstly, NATO. The NATO, first time in history, started a war outside of the territory which NATO pretended to defend, and it started it under a violation of international law. Second, for my country, for Germany, it was also a very historic moment, because the involvement of the German Bundeswehr was the first time since 1944 that Germany participated in a war. Third, in this war were many war crimes committed. Civilian targets were hit, and let me name just few numbers. The NATO destroyed 60 bridges, 110 hospitals, 480 schools, 365 monasteries, television center, electricity and water supplies, and 121 industrial plants. Many people, civilians, died. 2,500 civilians and more than 5,000 had been injured. And the biggest crime was the use of 30,000 uranium shells. This had, as a result, a fourth point, environmental contamination. Serbia is still today facing the long-term contamination of rivers with the uranium munition. And Serbia is on top in Europe when it comes to cases of lung or breast cancer. And this is a result of the use of the uranium ammunition, which is, by the way, prohibited or banned in the most countries of NATO. In Germany, it's not in use. Fifth point, territorial integrity. The territorial integrity of the Republic of Yugoslavia was ignored. And as a result of the war, the hurt part of Serbia, the Kosovo, was taken out. Sixth point, the so-called Kosovo. The territory called Kosovo is still not recognized by many countries in the world, by superpowers like Russia and China, but also by 5 countries of the European Union, among them Spain or Slovakia. And in spite of this fact that this so-called Kosovo is not able to survive on its own, it's just a protectorate of the European Union, of the NATO, they are pushing heavily to fix the status quo and legalize it, to push this so-called Kosovo into international organizations, and one of them is the Council of Europe, which is totally unacceptable. Seventh point, geopolitical inclusions. Due to the war in Yugoslavia, due to the Kosovo war, the stability and security in whole Europe was deteriorated, and the tensions between the West, between the EU and NATO on the one side and Russia on the other side, have increased significantly. And you have been talking about it. No, it was like a blueprint, even for Russia. The war in Ukraine provided the Russian leaderships with justification for the war in Ukraine. And now the Russians saying, okay, you could violate the international law, now we are violating the international law. Or in other words, if you would like to put Vladimir Putin to Den Haag, why are you not putting Bill Clinton to Den Haag? You know, so we are facing double standards in international politics. Ninth point, the victims. A big displacement. It's the biggest displacement in Europe since the Second World War. During the war in Kosovo, hundreds of thousands of Serbs and Albanians and other ethnic groups has been displaced. More than 855,000 people lost their homes. And Serbia paid a high price. Today, the Serbian minority is facing heavy oppressions in so-called Kosovo. So the treaties are violated by the Kosovo government. 10th and last point is the base for the war. And this is a big lie. We have seen that this war was justified by fake news and by lies. The so-called horse-hoe plan, which was put into circulation and media by the German defense minister Rudolf Scharping from the Socialist Party, was a blunt lie. And we should have it in mind every day when the next violation of international law is prepared by the next lie. So in conclusion, what does this teach us? What is the lesson learned? And I would say, since the motto of this conference is for a world of equals, we should fight injustice, fight violation of international law, and fight the double standards. So thank you that you are fighting for this, that you are organizing this conference. Thank you very much.